Hello, everyone. I'm Randy Sparagi, and we're previewing the great games you can see on the MLB on Fox this Saturday. I'm joined by FoxSports.com senior baseball writer Ken Rosenthal. And Kenny, you'll be in New York to see the Mets host the Phillies. Chase Utley back in Phillies lineup. Reliever Jose Contreras also off the DL, and closer Brad Lidge hopes to be back in the bullpen soon. So does this mean we'll finally get a true look at the team everyone thinks is the best in the National League?
Well, Randy, we'll get a more complete look, but I'm not sure it will be totally complete because really of the uncertainty that surrounds Utley even now that he is back. He right now is not able to play every day. They're going to rest him at certain times just to keep him healthy or to try to keep him healthy. The other thing we don't know about Utley is just how much he can produce as he battles through that knee problem. As for the bullpen, well, the Phils should be okay. Actually, they've been okay because of the emergencies of young relievers like Antonio Bastardo and Michael Stutz, and of course, the emergence of Ryan Madson as a closer. With Lidge, with Contreras, assuming both come back healthy, they'll be that much deeper, that much better. But in the long run, we're going to see the Phillies have to make one move at least, and that move would be for an outfielder. Now, I know the Phillies have no money, that's what they've been saying, and yes, they do have limited payroll flexibility. But at the same time, you look at that outfield, Mayberry, part-time player, Francisco, part-time player, Dominic Brown, probably not ready for the majors. The Phils' outfield production has been among the worst in the majors all season. They're going to need one more bat, even with Raul Ibanez heating up, even with Victorino coming back at some point. And I look for the Phils to be creative trying to get that bat.
So look for them to make one more move. Another game on Fox has Boston in Detroit. The Tigers are currently second in the AL Central behind the Indians, but they've had an up-and-down season. They had a 7-game winning streak earlier this month, but they also lost 7 in a row during one stretch. So how do you explain this roller coaster ride?
Pretty easy, Randy. Their bullpen. Worst in the American League by ERA, and when you have a bad bullpen, it leads to a lot of inconsistency. Joaquin Benoit, their big free agent signing, to this point, he has been a disappointment. They also lost Joel Zumaya earlier to an injury, and he's not going to be back either. So right now, they're having a hard time getting from the starters, who are very good, to the closer, Jose Valverde. The other thing about this team that leads to some inconsistency is their problems at the top of the order. Young players, Austin Jackson, Scott Sizemore, Brennan Bosch. None of these guys has produced in the way the Tigers really expected, and for that reason, they're not getting enough runners on base in front of Miguel Cabrera and Victor Martinez. So, for the Tigers to be the team that they want to be, they've got to improve the bullpen, and they've got to somehow get those young guys going.
All right, let's head south where the Braves host the Reds. Atlanta expected big things out of second baseman Dan Uggla when they picked him up in the offseason, but he struggled at the plate, hitting below 200. Are the Braves wondering why they gave this guy a 5-year, $62 million contract?
Nah, Randy, they're not ready to go that far yet in their thinking. Clearly, they're disappointed, as they should be disappointed. Dan Uggla is disappointed. You're right, 5 years, $62 million is a big commitment. But at the same time, Uggla has always been a slow starter. He admitted this week that he was pressing because of the contract, and it's not that unusual to see guys struggle at the start of a big deal. You look at Carl Crawford right now in Boston, finally heating up. He had a difficult transition after signing his big contract with the Red Sox. At some point, Uggla is going to hit. The Braves obviously need it to be sooner rather than later.
So just be patient with Uggla. Finally, the Angels visit the Twins. Jared Weaver expect to be on the hill for the Halos, and he got off to that great 5-0 start, but he's cooled off a bit. Which Weaver do you think we'll see on Saturday?
Good question. My guess, Randy, would be the good Weaver. Last start against Oakland, 7 innings, 1 run. That was more like the guy we saw earlier. But the difference between his great start and the last 5 or 6 starts is that he hasn't been striking out as many hitters, and he just hasn't been quite as sharp. There was no way he could sustain what he did earlier in the season, so it's understandable that he kind of went back a little bit. But he hasn't been horrible, and really it's just a matter of him getting back in rhythm, back in sync, and pitching like the Jared Weaver we know he can be.
All right, Kenny, always great to talk with you, and don't forget, the MLB on Fox is once again going prime time on Saturday. The action starts at 7 p.m. Eastern on your local Fox affiliate. For Ken Rosenthal, I'm Randy Sparagi. Thanks for looking in.
Rivals clash in primetime as Ryan Howard and the Phillies square off against the Mets. Fox Saturday Baseball this week, and catch This Week in Baseball at a special time.